to ignore. We're live.
Yeah, something like that. Somebody's alive.
We were just talking about men and women, and Tim was talking about how women talk too much, and I think it depends on the woman in regards to her personality and whether she talks a lot or not. And if you got a podcast, you got to talk a lot. So, ta-da! How's that? Ta-da!
Why should I talk when I can just sit here and quietly listen to you?
That's why they come to see me. It's gonna be huge. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I know that this past week we've had to deal with Hurricane Ian or whatever Ion. And
I thought it was Jose. I mean, come on, the names never sound like they're spelled anymore. So what does it matter?
No, that's true. Very true. But you know what? I got a
question. But wait a minute. What gender was he? Did he identify his gender? Or
no.
Did they identify their gender as a hurricane?
No, I think they did not because, well, here's a fact. Since Hurricane Katrina, evidently they can reuse the names as the time goes on, and some of them they retire because they're so bad. Mine was retired.
No, it was if it was a devastating, if it was a devastating type or impactful type storm, yes, they retire the name.
And mine was retired.
But there's a lot of little storms that are raised every. They actually they pick the names every year.
Yeah,
as they come through.
Yeah,
so they have them. All right, and that way, if it's something that becomes a huge dynamics, all right, they save it as a history moment. So,
got it. Well, and they said
in the 70s was it Hurricane Ike?
Ike
that came up East Coast. I have to look that up. I don't even know. As a kid, I didn't even know what it was. I just know that it seemed to make a day disappear in our world.
Well, I don't know. It depends because I know for the longest time they were naming hurricanes after women for a long time. And then they started using men's name here and there. But my question though, and trust me, I feel very bad for those people that lost everything. But my question is if you know the storm is coming and I think they had a week's notice that the storm was on its way, why do people stay and they don't leave? That's what I don't understand. I mean, personally, if I knew a storm was coming, I don't care if it was a Category 3, I'd get the hell out because of all the history of what's gone on. I would have said, okay, pack your bags, we're out of here. If it's good, if we have a house to come to, great. If not, then we'll see what we can do, but let's get the hell out. And they say that with most of hurricanes, including Katrina, and I get some of this, a lot of people couldn't get out, or they didn't have the funds, or they didn't have the capacity, that type of thing. So I get that to that certain degree. But if you had a choice and you were able to, why choose to stay back? I don't understand that. Would you? I mean, if a hurricane...
I probably would try not to live in a hurricane zone, first of all, that would or live in an area that would get flooded that bad.
Well, I'm just saying, and the thing is all that area that got hit the hardest was swampland at one point that was supposed to help with the waters coming into the mainland of Florida in the first place, so that would get swamped over and it would cover up so that the mainland wouldn't get hit so hard, supposedly. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just didn't understand that. I was seeing all the devastation, and I think my favorite interview was of an older guy, and they were saying, well, did you know it was coming? He said, well, hell yeah. They'd been talking about it on the news and the radio and the TV for a week. He said, why did you stay? Because I'm stupid. He said, I should have left, but I didn't. I thought it was a very honest answer. I thought it was it was a good answer in regards to, because a lot of people, I mean, it was just total devastation for some of these people. And I just didn't understand why there was one couple they were showing that was filming on Facebook while the surge is coming in and so on and so forth, and they didn't make it. I mean, the woman ended up in the hospital, but the husband didn't make it.
Wow.
And it's, I mean, and they decided to stay. They could have left, but they decided to stay. So I don't understand the mentality. I've never been there, so I can't judge, and I've never gone through a hurricane or a tornado. So I can't say, oh, sure, yeah, let's do this. But I don't know. I mean, being over here on this, and I would be saying, I'm out. Okay, I got it. We're out of
So I
town.
looked it up. The hurricane in the 1970s that I remember as a kid that went through and devastated the area I lived in was Hurricane Agnes in 1972. Went through the Northeast. All right. And I know it flooded, like, I lived outside of Scranton at the time, but it flooded like downtown Scranton because downtown Scranton is very low.
Yeah.
All right. There was a lot of areas that got flooded out from Agnes coming up the East Coast. I just remember it as a couple of rainy days because we lived on a farm and we're higher ground, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in an area that I guess it's not going to get hit as hard, but I mean, if you're like right in the eye of the storm, it's heading head on to you. And I get it how some people can't get out because some of them didn't have the funds or they didn't have the capacity to get out. But I'd get to that point where I'd be asking my neighbors, hey, are you heading out of town? You going up to the mainland? Can I go with you?
Yeah.
I'll bum a ride with you and I'll pay for the gas, whatever. But can I bum a ride with you? Because
that's that's the time where you keep a boat handy.
Yeah, get the hell out. I'll just boat over to the mainland.
Well, no, you put your boat, all right. You got to find a way to tie it down that it won't blow away. But if you have a boat, all right, that you can access as the water's getting bad. If it's if it's not wind, it's the wind and stuff that'll rip the boat out of there. If it's a lightweight boat.
Well, and that was the problem is the wind. I mean, you saw how it took these big, huge boats and just literally blew them over like they were toy boats. I don't know. I mean, I see all the devastation and I just feel sorry. I feel horrible for these people, but I didn't understand. I mean, I was telling my husband that I don't get it. I mean, even when we had the fires in California, we were getting our shit together. Like, I know they're going to evacuate us soon, so let's get our shit together so we can get the heck out of town. We never got evacuated, but still, we were prepared and ready to go.
I think the bottom line is there's, wherever you live in America, there's things that can affect you. All right. And it's being prepared for them here in Texas. We get tornadoes.
Tornadoes, right?
Yeah.
Well, on the East Coast, you guys get, or the coast, you guys get, have you guys gotten hit from hurricanes on the coast of Texas? I think you have.
Yeah. Galveston.
Yeah, you guys have gotten hit.
Houston.
But in mainland, you get
years ago, Ike went through Houston. Was it Ike? Katrina actually came through Houston, but it was a little more calm by the time it got here.
Yeah, because it hit head on to New Orleans and Louisiana, and devastated, and those were all low-lying areas. And at that point, I mean, when do you decide that okay, I'm going to live here in this low-lying area that seems to be flooding more and more these years? So,
Well, I mean, there's parts of New Orleans that are under sea level, and you live by the sea.
Well, it's so same way with Florida.
Yeah.
You live by the sea. You're at sea level. And then there's parts of California on the coast that sea level. Although a lot of the homes are above, but still, I don't know. It baffled me. Baffled me. I had no idea. So you said you've got a Lowe's coming.
Yeah, I'm getting I got the Lowe's deliveries coming today. I'm going to get the finishing pieces to put my shed together.
You're
turning my carport, and closing my one carport into a shed.
Your he shed. Tim's putting a he shed together.
And it's funny because we were away this weekend, and Glenn's like, "Well, why don't you just go and price out what it costs for the garage?" And like, I'm going to price it out, but I'm still not going to do it for a year. sorry. I'm like, I'm putting my money into other things right now.
She wants a garage.
No, I want a garage. I really,
You
if it's up
want
to
a
me,
garage.
I'd level the whole thing out there, but there's those other aspects to it. It's not just put a building up. I mean, I could buy the building for, twelve to $15,000. It's putting concrete down. It's running
Oh, yeah,
electrical to
yeah.
it. It's because of the fact that the electrical line runs right across the roof of that garage. I've got to have, I got to pay to have a trench put in, put the run the electrical underground. All right.
Yeah. You open
Um,
up one can and a whole bunch
yeah,
will.
there's whole things, once I get it done, now I've got to get the driveway poured. You know what I mean? I got to either put blacktop in or
Yeah,
you know what I mean, stone to widen my driveway out.
get it.
There's a bunch of aspects to it, and then there's other things on the property that need to be done. I've got a covering. I can just basically, I changed the one wall down the one side was half there, like a half sheet of stuff across it and chicken wire. Well, I could have taken the other half sheets I had off, but I know I went and bought, and I'm going to enclose it, and then I don't have electrical into it. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do for electrical. Probably just extension cords from the other house.
You
For the
do like
back.
Ben Franklin and hold the kite up
Oh, that guy.
with a key on the end. I
It
found
just-
it.
I've told people, I mean, this house is 1,000,001 projects, right?
Oh, it always is
Um,
when you get into a house,
Yeah,
especially.
well, that's part of why I got it. Is like, you know what I mean? Little by little, I want to make it the way I want it. I
But it's
could have
good.
very easily taken all the money I had and paid somebody to update all this stuff and make it look nice and pretty. All right, but instead, I'm putting that money into investments, and I'm going to make the investments pay to fix it. That's me. All
Stay
right,
tuned
because
as
I want
Tim
more.
gives
I
us-
want more money working for me than me working
Yeah,
for
stay
money right
tuned
now.
as Tim gives us updates on how to make money with investments. And your investments are property, right?
Yeah, real estate. So
Well, isn't that what they say is the road to financial success is buying
a lot
property?
of people use real estate. It's interesting we talk about this because there was a story many years ago, and now with the movie it became more known. Was Ray Kroc sitting down with a bunch of college students and said to the college students, he says, "These kids," he says, "What business am I in?" And the kids all laughed. They're like, "You're in the hamburger business." He goes, "No, I'm not."
What
He
did you
says,
say? You're in the what business?
"You're in the hamburger business."
Hamburger business.
Yeah. He says, "No, I'm not." He says, "I want you to think about where every McDonald's sits. It sits on a prime piece of real estate. I'm in the real estate business. The
Location.
value of the place where that is sitting is only going up. And I own the real estate."
Yeah, and that was smart because I know a lot of businesses they lease property or they lease the office space. The smart ones will buy the office and then
Mhm.
lease it out because that's an investment. And
Yeah.
as opposed to, well, we'll just lease it out and maybe then we'll lease to the next one or so forth. But if you have, if you have the capability to do it, and we were thinking about this. I mean, our friend Tony, we were talking about it at one time years back when people wanted to meet, and there were a lot of networking people that wanted to meet, and there were no meeting places, none
Yeah.
whatsoever. So we were thinking, here's all these empty offices or these empty buildings that are just sitting there, and nobody's using them. It would be great to buy one and then set it up specifically so that networking groups could come in and have their meetings or business meetings or whatever the case may be. They just rented. It's kind of like those suites that started up where
Mhm.
you could rent a space. You had a receptionist. They even had a VA available if you wanted a VA.
Yeah.
You come in, you do your meetings and so forth, or you work in the office. You had the opportunity to have a conference room, and then you would leave. That would be it. So you wouldn't have to go into the cost of getting an office and that type of thing. But I know during recessions and during COVID, a lot of that had a hard time because people were starting to work from home and then realizing how much money they were actually spending and that they
Yeah.
didn't actually need it. Doesn't mean all of them didn't, but I know there are certain businesses that people like to meet face to face, but nowadays most people meet at coffee shops.
Yeah.
and
There
saving
was,
all.
yeah, well, that's what we, when I started my business, that's what I did was I was using coffee shops, and then an office place came about that I got introduced to, and they were letting me stay in there for free and do stuff, and I would just rent their space for events. I was actually looking at the photos the other day of my first event held at that place. Very unique in style, but then
But that brings
they
back memories.
no they yeah they their lease on the building they had, it was owned, well, like a new company took over it, and one of the things they owned was a dentist office, and they basically said, okay, you're out, we're taking you out to put our new dentist office in there. So they lost their space, and the spaces they tried to move to, that basically killed their business. They couldn't find another space with that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I remember, I mean, I've done events at several of these type event places around the country. In Phoenix, Arizona, I used one on a regular basis. And as a matter of fact, one of them, the one that I used in Phoenix, I can't remember the town. They were in several towns, and one of them was in an old bank building, and they actually still had the bank vault.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I actually did a video. I did a video at the vault. Yeah.
How about the office in the bank vault? Just don't close it on me.
Well, some of those places, like when I was around the country, is that's where now they're coming to more a more where they, it's groups and you can rent and yet go to use it in another town. But I was liking it to where if I could just come into your town, I would rather use the little guy. That's me.
Yeah.
Here in Dallas, we have one that I was going to use called City Central. And they have an office for my Mercedes dealer. So I basically, if I can rent an office for the day, and those are ones that I'm going to rent for the day. Like when I'm doing serious writing and I want to get away from the emotion of what can distract me, I'll go rent one of those offices, take my laptop and notepads, and I'll go work from there for the day.
Well, it's funny because I've been working since my business started, which has been like 16 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I got my best ideas and my most creative time when I went to the library and just sat there and wrote. And you sometimes you have to get out of your space to get that creativity so that it flows. Mm-hmm. But I have a question for you in regards to real estate. If you had an opportunity, I mean, you've been building your empire with homes, but not necessarily office space. So, or not even just office space, but buildings in general. And I know there's a lot of them in a lot of areas that are available now that are probably dirt cheap. Would you go in and invest in a building that's zoned for business and then try and set it up in such a way that maybe there's a business that's not in the area?
No, I actually, unless I have millions to sit around, I won't tackle office space. I want, if I was going to do any commercial real estate in the financial position I'm in now, right, I would do something where I didn't have to pay for the finish out.
Yeah.
So what happens with office spaces is to get those leases, they have to play the credit games. You're fighting with the next guy, giving credit games to get people to sign a 5-year lease.
Yeah.
And by the time the credits you give, by the time you get the recap from that, it's, the 5 years is almost up.
Not worth it. So it's probably in your best interest that if you're going to build your empire in regards to property or real estate, it would be a home.
Well, this is even the group that I'm part of. Start with single family homes. It is the best way to go. The reason being, single family homes is you can own single family homes and do it without forming a corporation. We did it by forming a corporation first and then buying the corporation, and because of that fact, we couldn't get financing. That's where we learned the hard way is when you do it under the auspices of your own personal business, own personal life. All right, you can get financing because you can finance it and put it in your name.
Yeah.
The second you turn that into a commercial loan, nobody's giving the commercial loans on family residence, a whole different loan game.
But I mean, the idea is that you're buying a house, you're flipping it, and then you're selling it, or you're buying the house, you're fixing it up, and you're renting it. I mean,
I believe in fixing it up and renting it, all right, and holding on to it for a couple of years. The idea of flipping houses, it's something my wife wanted to do when we first got into real estate. And I said, I do not want to flip houses. It is a game.
A lot of work.
Well, no, they show you just a few of the stuff of what people go through in flipping houses on these TV shows. All right. And they're inflated prices. They're inflated everything they do. The average flipper in America today, all right, can flip 5 houses a year. And I want to say his income for flipping those 5 houses a year is like, his profits like maybe $15,000.
Because they put so much money into it.
Well, no, the problem is like you have one that makes money and then you have one that loses money. All right. Yeah. Most of those freaking deals, most flippers barely break even.
Yeah.
Barely. It is not a huge profit like they show you. Now, are there huge profits out there? Yes, there are. All right. But they're not, just being the skeptical me is just knowing that, not everything's a winner in that. And, the people I know who succeeded at it, they basically almost bankrupted their personal lives to do it.
But here's the interesting thing that we noticed across the United States, not just in the area we were in, which was in California. When people were selling their homes, investors would come in, buy the house, fix it up for as cheap as they could, and then they rented it. Mm-hmm. Because so many people are having such a hard time getting into homes and getting the down payment or the rates and so on and so forth. They need a place to stay and they still want to be in a house per se. Yeah. So they've been going in, cleaning them up, doing the bare minimum, and then renting them out. Right. So in their mindset, and it was interesting because I saw an interview on it, and the lady was saying, or the anchor was saying, well, don't you feel like you're taking the dream away from these families because you're going in, you're paying cash for this, and of course the owners are saying cash, yeah, sure, but then people can't get into the home that they want to get into. And he said, I don't believe that. I just believe they're renting their dreams. They still get their dreams, just renting them.
You look at people like, ultra wealthy, like the Grant Cardones. Everybody talking about Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone doesn't even own his own house. He rents houses to live in. He's like, why put my capital into something that costs me money? Put my capital into something that makes me money, right? So he rents the house he lives in. The idea behind those that we're looking to try to build our model out. If we go a single family like this, is I want to build something that they rent it from me for 3 years, but I want to get people with decent credit, and then in 3 years find a way to sell the house to the people there. I tried that with my old condo, and I went through 6 months of the renter who couldn't qualify.
Well, and that's going to be a hard thing because in the previous recession in 2007, that was the hard thing. Nobody could qualify because there were so many jobs lost and so on and so forth that bankruptcies left and right. People couldn't qualify because they had put things on credit cards because that was the only way they were surviving. So, I mean, in that type of an instant, I guess you kind of have to just see what's going on with the market, what's going on with people out there and how they're dealing with their finances. Because, I mean, when you're in that type of a situation, it makes it difficult to try and find very many people that could qualify.
Yeah.
And you just go through one after another, and in the meantime, it's just sitting there while you're paying.
Well, yeah, it's
monthly payments.
Is screening. Oh man, those guys here. Screening the proper people for your tenants is the key. Right? Yeah. Most people don't screen properly, and they get bad tenants. That's how they lose their money.
Yeah, so, I agree. Yeah. But and then there are also management companies out there that do it. Right. That do it for you, and you don't even have to worry about it. You just pay them for it. The Lowe's guy here.
The Lowe's guy's here. He brought the big truck.
Ooh, the big truck.
Hold on. Oh, I can't. I don't know if I can push this camera. How far I can push this camera away? Hold on.
See what the big truck looks like. The big truck. Go down.
Can you see it?
Ooh, that is a big truck.
Yeah.
Wow. That's looking out of Tim's screen
That's what, yeah.
at the low
Yeah, I have the extra camera that I can pick up. Here's looking out my front window.
that is delivering his. Oh, how funny! It looks like black and white out there because the screen.
Well,
has
because
that.
of the screens, I have solar screens on. That's one of the reasons I got the house with solar screens. I don't.
Clever.
I don't like the non. I like solar screens, and I'm going to change them to black because they're brownish. Because I'm going to eventually paint the house white with charcoal.
Okay. Educate me. Solar screens as opposed to black screens as opposed to regular screen.
Solar screens will help to keep your house cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
I get that.
My son doesn't have them, and his that's one of the things they told him to get because it would save his electric bill. So
yeah,
it helps from the sun baking the inside of your house.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, what's the difference between the regular solar screen and the black screen?
Well, your regular screens don't have the solar. You know what I mean? They're just there to keep the bugs out. They're not there. I
understand that. But you were talking about you have a solar screen right now, but you want to go to the black screen.
The black solar screen. It's a white solar screen.
Ah.
It's tan. Yeah.
This is what we've learned today, folks.
Yeah.
It can help save on your electricity bill.
It will.
Especially if you're working from home. It helps save on your electricity bill.
Especially when you have to pay for the electricity bill every day.
Just saying. Oh, by the way, I wanted to bring something else up that is.
You do that. I will be right back.
Okay. I will talk to the audience while Tim goes out and meets with the Lowe's guy so that he can take it wherever he needs to. But here's what I want to impart on you guys. Lately, what's been going on, there's a new email phishing that's going on in regards to hackers and that type of thing. And it's even harder to realize that it's a phishing scam altogether. What it is essentially when you go to sign up with your Google account or your Outlook account, it looks like you're signing in to your Google and Outlook account. But in reality, you're not. You're signing into something else that's not that. And how you can tell this is that at the top, when they have the URL, and that's the name of the domain name or the website name, it will disappear and you won't see it anymore. So that's kind of a key that, wait a minute, something's going funky here. So if you're getting into any signing thing, bank sign in, your Google email sign in for Gmail, your Microsoft Office sign in, anything that you're going to sign in, make sure that at the top of your screen when you're going into that you see it's a legit HTML, or it's not HTML, it's a legit URL name. And when I say legit, a lot of times you will see a lot of gobbledygook, like numbers, codes, letters, and that type of thing. If you're going into Bank of America, for instance, it's going to say bankofamerica.com, and then it should say login and so forth. But the one thing you always want to make sure anytime you go into any email, before you even look at it, view it first before you open it. And look at the email address. You can look at that email address, at least on a PC. I'm not sure about an Apple, but on a PC, you can right-click on that email address and see exactly what that email address is. If it's got a bunch of gobbledygook to it, it's not a legit email address. And 9 times out of 10, they're asking you to link on this, to pull this up, or to fill this out. Don't want to do it. So always make sure that when you're getting your emails in, you want to view them first before you actually open them, because you have that opportunity to do that. Look at it, make sure that the email address is legit. But like I said, there's more and more phishing going on, because as we get closer to the fear of recession, we have more and more hackers that take advantage of people out there that don't know enough about it and are desperate. And some of them are a lot of loan opportunities. Hey, you've just been pre-approved for $250,000, blah, 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 blah. If it's too good to be true, it is. So always be careful when you're opening those emails and making sure you're viewing them first before you open anything or click on anything, because all it takes is one, and then before you know it, they've taken over and they've got your passwords, they've got everything to your accounts, and they'll clean you out. So always make sure. Be protected.
Yeah.
You missed that, Tim.
Yeah.
We're talking about there's a phishing scam now that's making it harder where when you fill things out, like if you're going on for your Gmail account, you have to fill out your name and so on and so forth. They look legit, but the difference is at the top with the domain name, it disappears. And so you're looking at it and going, wait a minute, why isn't the domain name still? It just disappears. That's when you know, something's going on. I'm not in the right place. So you always want to back out and go in the right place, even if you have to type it in yourself. That way you can go into the right place.
Yeah.
But more scammers are starting to come up, and they're getting a lot more intelligent and a lot harder to decipher. Is this something I can open, or is this something I can't open? So always be careful. Always. So, I mean, they've been talking about people that have been losing their bank accounts, and I mean, and I hate hearing those stories because it frustrates the hell out of me, because I know that there are people that they're in a rush, they're in a hurry, they're just going in, they're doing their thing. It's kind of like when you go to the gas station, your card won't go in. So you try it again. Your card won't go in. You try it again. Third time. Okay, now it's going in. And then you realize, wait a minute, why do I have charges on this card? I didn't. It's because they had a scammer on there. And 9 times out of 10, that's what happens, is you have to push it through at least 3 times before it finally catches.
Wow.
So that, I mean, all kinds of security stuff that you just got to be careful of. And it was, and the funny thing is, I was talking to this woman who was in security, and I asked her, well, how do you protect your people? What do you tell them? She said, just tell them don't go online. Okay.
That's the life I want. I don't go online anymore.
Doesn't work. But you can always be like my husband and just be a paper guy. And I mean, he's the one who, I'm not putting anything online because they can't take anything from paper. I mean, it used to be in the old days, they would take your checks and then they would wash them and reuse the checks. Now everything's online for the most part. So it's much easier to do that than it is to do those washed out checks. Much easier.
Just a little bit.
Always be on the cautious, especially those that have been out there and dealt with the storm. They're already dealing with that now in Florida, where people are showing up and saying, hey, I know you need help to rebuild and so on and so forth, and this is how we're going to help you. We can give you a low interest rate, blah, blah, blah. We just got to need a deposit, or we can help you with this. Just do a deposit of this much money, and then they take off and they're gone. So, unfortunately, I mean, they were saying on the news that it takes days for legit help to get over there. It takes hours for scammers to get over there. So always, and they're playing upon your emotions and your situation. And so always be careful. Always.
Always.
That's my bit of advice.
Always.
My bit of advice. So if a hurricane's coming your way, get the hell out of town. I'm just saying, whether you've run out the storms over the years or not, you never know when this one is going to be the one that's going to take you at your house. Just get the hell out of town. You don't want to take that chance. That count has already gone up to, I think, 115 that people have passed now. So
115, huh?
115. So not a good thing. You always want to get the hell out. So did
you
your
wonder? Wait a minute. Do you ever wonder how many people got wiped out by this stuff before they actually had news people to count for us?
Yeah, I can imagine. Can only imagine.
Like, because I want you to think about it. In the 1200, a hurricane comes through, and there was 25 people living on that land, and nobody knew about it because we didn't have a news media to print it right. There wasn't
radar
counts.
Yeah. Well, look at the earthquake in San Francisco, and how many people passed away in that. They didn't know that was, and even with earthquakes, sometimes, I mean, you still don't know when it's going to hit. It just hits. At least with a hurricane, and a tornado, nowadays anyway, you've got that information that tells you, okay, now it's moving. It's going to be going up this way, or it's going to go up the coast that way, or it's going to go up the middle of whatever. You've got these things that are telling you, get the heck out. And that's what I don't understand, why people just say, no, ride this one out. We should be fine. I don't understand it. I just don't understand the mentality. I'd get the hell out of town. But I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not in their place, so I can't judge. That's all I know is I'd get the hell out of town. I don't want to be like Dorothy. This ain't Kansas no more. Look what Dorothy went through, folks. She went over to the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Followed the yellow brick road and those damn flying monkeys. That was scary. That was very
Flying
scary.
monkeys, for crying out loud.
Don't you remember as a kid when you were watching that? I remember my eyes were like this when the flying monkeys came. I was like, I don't want to look. Those things are scary. Even today, it scares some of the kids. I don't want to look. They're scary. Very scary. Even in the cartoons, they always have like the wolf or something. Make it look very scary as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our first images of fear. Fear this. It's very scary. Just saying.
Just
Talk
saying.
to him. Talk to him. Did you get your load?
Yeah. Guy no, it's all on a pallet. So basically he lifts it off with a forklift, rises it on, and said, put it inside the garage as best you can get it. And he gets it right inside the it's a carport. And I basically cleared the lane. So he basically can put the forks to put it right inside and drop it. And I said, it's undercover, but not like it's gonna rain. He said, well, maybe next week. I said, yeah, by next week all that wood will be up on the building. So
yeah, we'll be done. We'll be done. I bet your list, though, of things to do with this house is really long now.
It is. And just this is one of those things that I've got to get done. To get, I get like my tools and stuff are all inside the small workshop of my mom's, which she wants to renovate. So I'm trying to get everything out of there and get all my tools into this shed. So I'm trying to build this shed up to get everything in there.
Oh, that's where you want the shed, so you can get all your tools.
I want all my stuff undercover and locked.
Got it.
So somebody can't just walk on the property and access it. So
well, do they have in your area? They're called tough sheds.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I have a shed on the property, but the doors fell off.
Because I know, I know my brother-in-law had a tough shed. It was huge. Mm-hmm. He had like 3 cars in that tough shed. He had like a little man cave. I mean, it was huge. Yeah. And they just came in. Like you said, they had to have the concrete laid down. It came in. They popped it in. They sealed it all and done. Yeah. He had a garage. 3-car garage. It was, I mean, you can even live in those tough sheds. They are even advertising them now where you can put them on a piece of property and live in them.
I know, it's like, trying to find one that actually has, garage size and stuff like that is what I was looking for.
They're huge, but they're not cheap. I mean, I think he spent, and that was years and years ago, he spent like 18 grand for that.
Yeah. I found a garage that I can get for, it's about, I'm trying to think what the cost was.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pull it up real quick. It's like I can get a garage about the size of this, about the size of the carport that I have for roughly about $7 grand. So
not bad. Oh, by the way, we went up to the house. We're extended now till mid-November.
Aha.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to be packing like fools because they promised us mid-November. So now we got to start packing, getting our shit together. It's packing time, folks. So now we got to get everything together and ready to head out. And hopefully we will be in the house before the holidays, before the Thanksgiving holiday. And have a turkey in our new house. Yay!
Hopefully.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Very exciting. I've been sharing on Facebook if anybody's interested. And seeing the whole process. This is the first time I've actually done video of a whole process of something being built and going through it from the ground up. And then I'm going to do a montage of seeing this is one room, how it started, and here it is, and da 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 da. So you can see the progression. We shall see. Can't wait. Almost there. Almost. We're getting there. Cross fingers. It's hard when you're building a house. I mean, when we first moved, we moved into a house that was built in 1961. It was older than me. And it was an old house and it needed work here and there, but it was done. You just moved in and just did what you needed to, like Tim is doing things here and there. But a brand new house, I mean, you get to pick out all the colors, you get to pick out what you want and so on and so forth, but you also have to wait until it's built. And sometimes that's the hardest part is you go up and see it and it's like, oh, really? This is all they did? They couldn't get more done? Or because during the Labor Day holiday, they decided to take 2 weeks off. So 2 weeks, it just sat there and nothing got done.
Wow.
So that's why it's like behind, because the workers decided that they had Labor Day off and they decided to call in sick and then do an extra week. So we'll just take 2 weeks off. Nothing got done for 2 weeks. And that's the hardest part. We've talked about this too, is that and businesses everywhere are having a hard time with this, is finding people that want to work. So where are all these people that aren't working? I mean, they can't be on unemployment still. You can only be on unemployment for so long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what are they doing? Side jobs here and there on their own and just taking cash under the table and not paying taxes? I mean, what's going on? I don't understand. Where's the workforce? It's like they've all disappeared. And even on the unemployment rates that they're looking at, the unemployment rates aren't that bad, but these people aren't taking unemployment.
Maybe it's people like you and me who found a way to make money elsewhere.
Possibly. That's very possible, because there were a lot.
Well, no, I wonder how many people though too are going, you know what, I'll live off, you know, they're trying their businesses for the first time. I'll live off my credit cards and my, you know, my pension, or, you know, I'll cash out my pension and trying it. All right.
That's possible, but it's not. I mean, as we both know, starting a business there's no easy button.
No.
There's no, well, I'll just push this and this will happen.
Well, the other thing is how many people, you know, were getting closer to retirement age and said, screw this, I'm retiring, I'm done.
That too. And if you retired early and then you start to get bored, then what do you do? Go back to Walmart and greet people? Hi, welcome to Walmart.
Buy a house with 1,000,001 projects.
Yes, that keep you busy. Go fishing, go camping, I don't know. I mean, retirement looks different to everybody. And do you really truly retire?
Yeah,
I mean, what does
put a garden in the back and, you know.
What does it really look like?
Yeah.
I mean, in the old days, grandma and grandpa, you know, we're going to retire and sit on our porch in our rocking chairs and do absolutely nothing. I don't think that's my type of retirement. I mean, I still want to be doing something. I don't want to, whether that be painting or getting into more creative venues and stuff. I don't know. But I don't want to just sit around in my rocking chair and with my cup of coffee. Yep, nice day is going to be. What should we do today? I don't know. It's like do you remember in the Jungle Book? They were, the scavenger birds, and they were standing there. So what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? They kept going, well, let's stop that. Come on, we got to figure this out. That's what I imagine. I don't know, retirement. What do you want to do? I don't know. Just
I'm
saying.
always wondering how many more, yeah, how many more tools I need to do. You know what I mean? Because my problem is I've got a project. Oh crap! I don't have the tool to do that. I got to go buy another tool.
Oh, yeah.
Bummer,
Well,
man.
and that's another reason why we bought this house brand new, so we don't need the tools, and the yard is much smaller. It's going to be completely done, so we don't have to worry about it, but just maintain it. That's it. We don't have to worry about, I mean, granted, you have a big yard now, and you've got this cool lawnmower that you get to ride on and ride all over, and that's, I mean, and that's probably a lot better than doing the old fashioned way. Can you imagine in the old days when they just had to push the lawnmower? It didn't have a motor. You just had to keep pushing and da, 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 and then you did the next one. I mean, it could take you a week just to do that yard. Okay, done. Next week, start all over. That'd keep you busy for sure. Good exercise, huh?
We had stuff like that. We had fields like that back east, where I grew up, and they mowed them twice a year
Because they didn't,
for
yeah,
hay,
that's too much.
for the cows.
Yeah, it's too much. It's crazy. That's a lot of work. A lot of work. And maybe that's where the workers are. They've decided, tired of working these hard jobs, I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
And hopefully, they found that momentum and so forth. But I know too that there were a lot of baby boomers that are getting to that retirement age. And like you said, they probably said, I'm just retiring.
I'm done with this.
Sick
Yep.
of it. I've been working since such and such age. I'm done. I'm just going to retire, do my own thing. If I want to go fishing, I go fishing. If I want to go whatever, I got the time. And that's probably why the mass moves have been going on too, is that people are moving into areas that they can afford to retire in. That's why we did it. And now we're in a place where we can afford to be on one income with no problem. Even if that means working at Walmart, it's not a problem because we set ourselves up for that.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people have that opportunity. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
All right, wait a minute. Are you planning out like a date and time that you and your husband are going to stop working?
Well, my husband wants to stop working at 65, maybe 72. He doesn't know yet. He's still trying to decide. He doesn't want to retire until he can take full Social Security and not, retire early or anything. But in his retirement, he likes biking. So he'd go biking and hiking and that type of thing. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, nowadays we're living longer, we're doing better. I mean, both of us, none of us are in any meds. So we don't have, and we don't have to really go to the doctor for the most part. So we're pretty healthy. It's not like we've got that expense, and hopefully won't have that
Yeah.
expense as long as we keep ourselves healthy and moving down that line. Hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say what retirement is to people.
I know. Because I noticed this past week, we were up in Amarillo visiting family and going to Gwen's high school reunion.
Oh boy.
I noticed, when I'm away, I hardly ever glimpse it, and I am hardly ever on freaking Facebook anymore. But I noticed Larry Wingett posted a picture on his fan page with the sign, Adios, amigos. Larry Wingett retired.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, good for him.
And I was looking at that and going, what do you do to set yourself up for retirement in our game? Like I'm like in the influencer type game.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. He may have royalties from his books that'll, sell for years.
Possibly. But I don't know. I mean, granted,
well,
I know you can't really rely on Social Security because you don't know essentially you don't know how long it's going to be around. And usually the government, if they're going to make cuts, that's usually where they start cutting. So you don't know if you're going to make the same amount. I mean, that's just, at least that's not what we plan on doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to say what retirement looks for people. I mean, essentially, if I think about it, I'm kind of retired because I'm doing my own thing. I still get to I still get to work with great people, and I get to do my own hours, and I get to work when I want. When I don't want, I get to work as hard as I want, as little as I want. So in essentially, I kind of already set myself up for that because I, as long as I'm capable, I'll keep working. But I don't really look at it as work per se.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I look at it. I mean, I guess that's
I looked this week up. I looked up all. I was going through some of my files on some of my old. I pulled a lot of my old discs out to see what I have stored.
Oh my God, thumb drives.
I found all the programs that I did back when my original brand was in my books when I was Rocker Life Coach.
Wow.
I'm actually thinking right now, because I have the technology to do it, is taking them, taking the PDFs I have and doing PowerPoints and auto recording them and putting up as a whole thing that I could be selling for years.
Yeah.
I have
evergreen.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I took all the outlines I had and just made them into PowerPoints and then used StreamYard to record them, I could run a sale on a new product every month for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Easily.
And just to explain what evergreen is to our audience out there that's watching, because for the longest time I had no idea what it is. Evergreen is when you have a product that you can continually make money on or repurpose.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like Tim was saying, he's got all these things he can repurpose and make money on. That's what evergreen is something that you can repurpose over and over again.
Yep. So
just so you know, because for the longest time people said evergreen, and I just sit there.
Is that grass?
I don't get it. What is evergreen? I have no idea. Is that a song?
Have you seen the photos? By the way, this is just, I love the funny things in life. The photos where it says green vehicles only. And some guy parks his big old green pickup truck there. Green vehicle.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up to our hour here, aren't we?
We're getting close to it. So.
Hopefully you've enjoyed the conversation. I mean, like I said, and Tim said, we're changing things up on this, and we're just trying to talk about life in general and business in general and give you some tips here and there as we go along. And hopefully you find tidbits. You enjoy the conversation.
What if we had a show that had no purpose?
Well, that could be, what was it? I'm trying to think of that show that had Jerry Seinfeld in it.
Seinfeld.
Oh, that's right.
The entire show was.
I didn't watch it. All it was them complaining about people, and it was about nothing.
And it was a show about nothing.
It was about nothing. And if you think about it, George and Seinfeld, they were trying to come up with a show. Let's come up with a show that's about nothing. That was their show. It was about nothing. And it ran for years. People loved it. And it was about nothing.
I know.
They had
maybe that's going to be our new show, about nothing.
No rhyme or reason to it. It was just absolutely about nothing. They'd complain or they'd talk things or whatever. But I'm just saying. Interesting concept. It went on for years. So you never know. Maybe that's the problem. We've been trying.
Maybe that'll be our new hashtag, show about nothing.
Show about nothing. And you might find some tidbits here and there. You might not. Who knows? Show about nothing.
What would be hilarious is if we did a show about nothing where we just did this every week. All right. And we became like the #1 business show.
I'm just saying. That's when you find that sweet spot. You got to find that sweet spot.
Well, yeah. When it comes down to, I don't care anymore.
Well,
seriously, my business grew when I said, I don't give a shit anymore. All of a sudden, like, I had business everywhere.
Same here. When you worry about it is when it disappears. When you don't worry about it and you just like, you know what? I'm just going to let it flow. I'm just going to do my thing. I've never been busier since then. It's a mindset. I'm just saying. You just got to let it go and just trust. And I'm a universe kind of gal. You just got to trust in the universe that it will bring forth to you what you need. Now, I'm not saying just sitting there with your cup of coffee and saying, they will come. I built it. They will come.
Allow me to measure the success of that.
Doesn't go too far. Just saying. But when you work so hard, you put things in place and you can evergreen a lot of your stuff, you can make money. And that's all part of it. Membership sites, webinars, all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's, I was thinking about that because I was actually telling a client to do this. She's like, well, I've got this and this and this and this. And I'm like, well, that's why you need to get Kartra and set it up, set up your membership sites, because you have the access to do all that. Oh, I can? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I pay what is it, $1,700 a year for it, because I can just go in and add something.
Yeah.
I get months that I don't have, I want to say my average, like a low month, not my average month, my low months of like affiliate marketing. All right. The stuff that comes in is like, I want to say it's like, I had like $240
a month.
a
Yeah.
low month. Like, this is all stuff I already did. It's out there in the universe and I just get checks for it. Right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people would be like, well, that's not enough. Do it more and set it up. That's my low months. My Kartra thing is only like my Kartra affiliate. I just got the email yesterday. It's only like $39 this month. I'm like, oh, well, guess I got to.
$39 is better than zero.
I know that's $39 that, you know what I mean? I worked for one time.
Yep.
It's
just, I mean, there's so many things you can do with your content. There's so much content out there that it's I mean,
that's one. Yeah. Well, and the other reason is like, to me, the John Limbacher, which I've been part of John Limbacher's program for years. Right. And his ACT program, like, I meet people all the time who basically come up to me with, well, I want to get in your coaching because that's the problem solver. I had clients who spent years in my program and didn't do shit because they didn't have, they wouldn't listen to the very first thing in his thing and analyze. So I stopped taking them on as clients if they didn't have that. And I go, you know what? You need to go to his program first because you can get his program for $497. Yes,
yeah,
I'll make $100, but I would rather you spend $400 there and figure it out than to spend 20 grand with me and still not figure it out.
Well, and let's face it,
because it frustrates
a lot of people that take coaching and take programs don't act. If you're not going to act on it, it's not going to do you any good.
Well, yeah, and it frustrates me as a coach because, like, I don't want to waste my freaking energy by slapping you upside the head and go, dude, take some freaking action.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a problem. A lot of times people take coaching programs and they're expecting them to say, okay, now do this. Okay, now do this. Okay, now do this. Sure. They're expecting them to take it step by step by step and follow them and hold hand them. And that's not it. Or handhold. That's not part of it. The part is they're showing you the process. Now you got to go do it.
Yeah.
If you don't,
that's what frustrated me about coaching. Like, I was going to quit entirely this year. And like, I stopped doing my newsletter in January when I got sick. I stopped doing my show in May when I got frustrated with just stuff going on, my Tim Gillette show. Last year I did, but here's what's funny is last year I did 70 some episodes in 2021 of my Simple Easy podcast. All right. And I went in the other day and realized, like, I have like advertising money, like 30 some odd bucks in there. I've got to go download.
Yep.
Wait, that stuff I mean, I haven't recorded another episode in almost over a year, right? And they're 10-minute episodes.
Still evergreen. It's still evergreen. It's still.
Maybe I should create a couple more of them. They're 10 minutes.
Still viable. Yeah. Yep. Even if you go back and look at all what episode are we on, and you go back and you look at all of our episodes, they're still
we're
viable.
Episode 42 right now.
There you go. Still viable, and we're going to keep going. Even
we're going to have a show about nothing.
Exactly. Absolutely nothing. And if you get something out of it, great. If you don't, hey,
it's your problem.
Nothing.
if you don't get something out of this, it's your problem, not mine.
We'll have Elaine and George and the rest of us complaining about business and other things because it's about
that should be. Wait a minute, no, that should be our whole freaking show. Complaining about the people who don't do anything. We'll just change the names of the characters, our clients.
Yes,
to different names so they don't know we're talking about them.
Oh my God. That's or get an easy button, you know, those easy buttons that came from, I think, Home Depot or Office Depot did the easy button. You get the easy button.
Measure success.
Why is this not working? It's not working. Got to put in the work, people. Got to put in the work. Not going to work unless you do. I've been doing this for 16 years. Tim's been doing this for how long?
I don't know. I quit counting.
Yeah, a long time. Long time. Just saying. Got to put in the work.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been an hour. All right. I got to go out there and apparently rearrange some wood that was delivered by Lowe's so that I can be able to park my car.
Yeehaw! He's going to do some building.
And then I'm going to get another cup of coffee.
Oh, yes. Another cup of coffee. And I'm going to go back to work. And folks, hopefully you got a little bit out of this, and we hope you can join us next time.
We'll be here next week, I think.
No, we will. I'll just put it on. I don't care.
Wait a minute. You know what's next Thursday, right?
What's next Thursday? Oh, what's next Thursday? I don't know. What's next Thursday? The 13th.
What's going on that you and I aren't going to?
Oh, oh, well, I'm packing. That's why I'm not going. I have too much shit going on. I can't travel. I just can't.
On the 13th, next Thursday, I will have, they will be here installing doors in the house.
Yeah, I'm going to be packing and in the midst of just getting everything ready because we'll have maybe 4 weeks before we'll move.
Okay.
4 weeks. We got shit to go. A lot of shit to do. Just saying.
Yeah.
I said everybody, I'm not traveling for the end of the till the end of the year. I'm not doing any travel because our main goal is get in this house, get in the house, get everything moved in, get settled in, get my new office set up, and we'll be done. And then
because new office set up because mine still isn't set up. It's half set up.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have it'll look a lot better than this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you'll see the difference. But this
all right, guys. It's been a fun week. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.